Listen closely. Your practice might already have a hidden artificial intelligence revenue leak right now, and you might not even realize it yet. In this explainer, we're treating this exactly like a private risk assessment. Over the years, I've sat across the desk from countless independent medical practice owners, managing physicians, and healthcare leaders. My focus is always looking at where billing, denials, workflows, and your visibility as an owner intersect. Today, we're looking directly at a hidden risk operating in your back office right this minute. The issue isn't that AI exists. The issue is that AI is actively touching your documentation, your coding, and your patient communications completely without your validation.
So let me ask you a direct question. Where exactly is AI operating inside your practice right this second? Take a moment with that. If you don't have a concrete answer right away, trust me, you are not alone. By the end of this explainer, you'll have the precise steps you absolutely must take this week to protect your revenue and your data. Let's begin. Here is the core disconnect I see in clinics every single day. Your staff? They assume AI is just a fast spell checker, a helpful, harmless digital assistant. The harsh reality is something entirely different. It is making unsupervised revenue decisions. When your team uses unauthorized tools to speed up their daily workflow, they bypass the exact guardrails you have spent years building. Yes, they want efficiency, but efficiency without oversight is a massive liability. Let's define an AI revenue leak with absolute precision. It happens when artificial intelligence touches documentation, billing, denials, or workflows without owner visibility, without protected health information safeguards, and without clear accountability. I want to be perfectly clear here. The technology itself is not the enemy. The enemy is the absence of a human safety net. So we have to ask ourselves, what actually happens when an algorithm flat out hallucinates a billing code? General AI models have been shown to invent facts up to 20% of the time in complex scenarios. So what happens when a machine creates a medical necessity out of thin air and your staff trusts it? Let's look at a high-stakes, concrete example happening in billing departments right now. Picture a busy staff member in your back office. They have a stack of 50 denials to process by 5 p.m. They open a public AI tool and ask it to write an appeal letter. The tool spits out, "Based on the records, we are appealing the denial for CPT 99214 citing medical necessity." It reads beautifully. It looks exactly like the work of a seasoned biller. They copy, they paste, and they submit. They feel highly productive. But there is a massive problem lurking underneath that perfectly polished grammar. Let's look at the actual fallout from that specific scenario. That perfectly written letter relied on completely unsupported billing logic. The AI fundamentally misunderstood the payer's specific requirements, and it resulted in a hard $5,000 claim denial. Even worse, it hallucinated appeal citations. It confidently referenced medical guidelines that literally do not exist. And because this was done on a public, unapproved tool, there's zero audit trail. You, as the owner, have absolutely no record of how that letter was generated, who approved the logic, or why the claim was ultimately lost. You just lost $5,000 to a ghost. Which brings us to a risk far greater than a single denied claim. Is your patient data feeding a public language model right now? Let that sink in for a moment. When your staff pastes a clinical summary or a denial record into an unapproved AI tool, they are actively transmitting protected health information completely outside of your HIPAA-compliant environment. Take a look at this specific scenario. A well-meaning medical assistant wants to quickly draft a portal message. They prompt the AI, and it generates, "Dear patient name, your recent lab results for a specific condition show." It is perfectly punctuated, it's incredibly empathetic. It is also a massive compliance violation. The very moment that patient context was fed into an open public model, your practice was exposed. They just wanted to save 3 minutes of typing, but they unknowingly breached your entire data perimeter. Here is the crucial point you must take away from this. Polished output creates false confidence. That is the single most dangerous element of artificial intelligence in a clinical setting. It doesn't hand you a draft full of typos and errors that immediately tell you to double-check the work. It hands you a masterpiece. It makes incomplete, unsupported, and entirely incorrect work look absolutely ready to trust. When the packaging is perfect, the human brain drops its guard. Your staff stops reviewing, and they start rubber stamping. The question then becomes, how do we regain control here without slowing the practice down to a crawl? You can't afford to put the brakes on your revenue cycle, but you absolutely cannot afford to operate with these blind spots. Listen, we aren't going to ban technology. We are going to shine a floodlight on it. Here is your strategic blueprint. There are 3 critical questions every single practice owner must ask their clinic manager and staff this week. First, where is AI being used right now? You must uncover the unofficial workarounds. Second, is patient information entering any of these tools? We need to know immediately if PHI is touching unmanaged systems. Third, who reviews the output? Before any AI-generated appeal, coding suggestion, or patient message affects your revenue or compliance, who is the qualified human reading it? Accountability must sit with a person, not a machine.
To make this extremely concrete, we've put together a simple AI usage inventory template. Have your practice administrator complete this by Friday. You need 4 basic data points: tool name, is it approved, is PHI involved, and who is the designated human reviewer. This completely strips away the mystery. It transforms an abstract threat into a tightly managed workflow, establishing absolute accountability across your floor.
Now, a quick word of caution. Please, do not go out and buy new software to solve this. When practice owners discover a gap like this, the first instinct is to write a check for a new platform. Stop. Don't add another tool until you have firmly mapped what you already have. Find the shadow IT. Find the tools living on personal phones and secondary browser tabs. Map your current reality first. We've covered what an AI revenue leak actually looks like, how polished errors cost you thousands, and the precise inventory you need to run this week. I will leave you with this final thought. The risk that hurts your practice most isn't the approved software that occasionally glitches. It is the system operating in the shadows, the one you never saw. When you walk through your clinic doors tomorrow morning, what ghost is writing your appeals? Assess your practice today.